Hello, I am Coach Jon Winkelman, and today we continue our series in the book of Jude. We are going to read verses 14 through 16. Let's receive God's word. It was also about these that Enoch, the seventh from Adam, prophesied, saying, Behold, the Lord comes with 10,000 of his holy ones to execute judgment on all, and to convict all the ungodly of all their deeds of ungodliness that they have committed in such an ungodly way, and of all the harsh things that ungodly sinners have spoken against him. These are grumblers, malcontents, following their own sinful desires. They are loud-mouthed boasters, showing favoritism to gain advantage. As we reflect on today's reading, did you notice what word was repeated? Ungodly. This is the characteristic of those who oppose the kingdom of Christ and the gospel. The book of Jude is a letter written to the church, urging them to contend for the faith. The faith, as used in Jude, refers to the collection of Bible truth held to by Christians. In verse 3, Jude told his readers that he wanted to write to them about salvation, but felt that it was necessary to write about contending for the faith. We contend for the faith because there are those that oppose Christianity. That is who he is describing here, those who oppose Christ, the ungodly. Verse 14 teaches us something fascinating about Enoch. The story of Enoch is found in Genesis chapter 5. He is famous for being someone who seems to have not died, but was instead caught up to heaven without facing death. Genesis 5 verse 24 says, Enoch walked with God, and he was not, for God took him. Jude tells us that Enoch was also a prophet. Enoch foretold that the Lord was going to come with 10,000 of his holy ones to execute judgment and convict the ungodly of their deeds and words. Those who oppose truth are characterized by one word, ungodly. The idea is that we are to be opposite. They are ungodly because they do not know God and are opposed to his plan and purpose. We are the opposite. We know him and we actively work to further the plan and purpose of God. Jude's final thought on the ungodly is that they are complainers who follow their own desires and are loud-mouthed boasters who seek an advantage. His point is that they will not get away with their sin. God is coming to judge. We too will be judged and rewarded at Christ's return. So, how do we respond to this passage today? Thinking about what characterizes those opposed to God, how do we compare? Are we actively working to advance the plan and purpose of God? Do our words and deeds bring honor and glory to the one we serve? Are we complaining boasters who show favoritism? Jude wants us to understand what we contend against. We contend against those whose mission is to oppose God. Our best tool to use against those who oppose God is a life of godliness and righteous character. Our behavior ought to stand in stark contrast to those who are ungodly. How do we make that happen? We live the truth of God's word. We put it into practice. As we do every day, how can you reveal what you've learned from this passage to another person? Here's what I want you to do. If you have a community of believers, a small group of some kind, share with them how we are contending for the faith against those who oppose God. If you don't have a community of believers, start building one. Jude wrote this to a church with the expectation that the church would put these things into practice. We need one another if we are going to be able to contend for the faith. Remember, we have a judge, and we will stand before our judge one day. My prayer is that he would find each of us faithful in our service to him.